Hello, Betty. Good to see you.
Hello.
All right, we'll give everybody a second to jump on. All right, let me send this out. All right, let me make sure we got everything. Yeah, I think we're kicking out. Go back to my notes. I got some good stuff I wanted to share tonight. So first thing I want to do is congratulate everybody. There's been some tremendous, awesome activity that's been going on lately. And I just want to acknowledge that. A lot of people are putting in a lot of work. And before I get into tonight's topic, I want to talk about the system that everybody's using right now, which is the grocery store method, I guess is going to be the way that thing gets immortalized. And that is when you're doing this business, you treat it just like you were at the grocery store. You treat it just like you ran into somebody that was walking a couple of aisles over. You wave at them, you say hi to them, you walk over, and you ask them how they've been. And then when you get done with that, a lot of times they're going to tell you what's going on in their life, and that's going to be their thing. And when they tell you their thing, you're going to empathize with them because that's what human beings do. It's like, oh, man, I'm sorry to hear that. When we're not trying to get something from them, but we're just trying to be there with them and support them, then we do it the right way. When we get in this business, we have a divergence. We go down this other path. We're used to being a human where we would actually just have a conversation and chat with somebody, but now we get into this business and we become some Kyani robot where all we're doing is throwing up blueberries on anything that moves. And we don't continue on with the conversation, or we get real scared when somebody says that they've got something going on that we actually have a solution to because we're concerned about what they're going to think about our little blueberry business. What I want everybody to do is I want them to collapse these paths into one and just be a human and have a conversation with people. Stop making this a business thing. Make this be a conversation. Get your head wrapped around the idea of you're not here to sell them something. You're here to have a conversation with them. If you're walking around in the grocery store and you run into your friend and they got a terrible headache and you've got a thing of ibuprofen in your purse and you don't offer that to them, you suck as a human being. I'm just going to call it what it is. Some of you are hearing their thing, and because you're so selfish about your concern and your fear of what they're going to think of you, you're keeping your ibuprofen in your purse and you won't share it with them. You're hearing they're thinking, I don't know what they're going to think. They might think I'm trying to sell them ibuprofen. I don't know what's going on in your head, but something like that's going on. Or y'all would be sharing with them a potential solution to their issue after you empathize. What I'm observing in your numbers, and that's why we do the numbers, because it's real easy to figure out what's going on when you have data, is that a lot of you, and I want you to question this in your own business. I want you to go back on your last 10 that you've reached out to, that you've gotten to step 3, which is having a conversation, informing them, and finding out what they've got going on, and review and see if you're not getting too many people to step 4 or to step 5, then you're overlooking what they've been sharing with you most likely. Now, I'm doing this from a statistical perspective. You might have some anomalies going on, but probably not. Go back and look with the intent of discovering and finding what's going on. Don't think it's the system. Don't think it's them. It's probably you. And that's okay. That's what we're here to do, is learn this system. That's what we're here to do, is to build this skill. Now, here's the deal. You already have this skill. And if you'll stop being the Kyani robot, you'll let this human skill out. When somebody doesn't feel good, you offer them an aspirin out of your purse. After you tell them, I'm sorry you don't feel good. How long have you had a headache? Are you taking anything for it? Well, hey, would you like some help with that? Why do I ask? Because I got aspirin in my purse. You want one? That's how that goes. They say, yes, thank you. It's not weird. You want to know why so many people feel the need that they need to go to their doctor and start having a 45-minute dissertation with their doctor to have them look at all this stuff after they just got done eating a Whataburger, Taco Bell, and drank 2 Dr. Peppers? And now all of a sudden they're going to get a PhD in nutrition and they need to do all this research because you're acting like a Kyani robot. Nobody says, well, before I take this ibuprofen, I'm going to go need to talk to my doctor. They say, give me the ibuprofen. It's going to help my headache? Yep, cool, give it to me. Okay, so I wanted to bring that out. I want you guys to take a look at your business. I want you to take a look at what's going on. I want you to review. That's why we do these in text, so you can go back and you can look at your table of contents on what all your numbers are and go back and look at those. Any of them that's a 3 that didn't take it to a 4, look back and see if they gave you the thing. I don't want you guys hiding on that. And I know, it's not that I think, I know, because I've been doing a lot of reviews with a lot of people that have been going through the classes, that that's what's happening. Okay? So with that said, I want to dig in and I want to spend a little time for some really cool stuff that I had in my own personal development here recently. And whenever I have something cool that I learn, whenever I'm listening to personal development, I'm always with the intent to be able to teach it later. I want to be a curator of information that if I get this, I want to be able to share it with y'all, because you might not spend that time to go watch that video or listen to that thing because you're listening to something else. But if I can curate that and I can distill it down and get the main points of what it meant to me, 2 things happen. First thing is I really get the information because I sat there and studied it with the intent to share it. And then 2, I'm able to pass it on to a larger audience. Even if I share it with one more person, that's a bonus. If I can get it in front of 10, 20, 30, 40, you look at the people that are going to watch the replay of this thing, 50-something people are going to watch this. That's just powerful. So whenever you're learning something, don't just let it go in and say, hey, that was really cool. Do it with the intent to teach it, and you will actually then possess it. Okay? So the first thing that I want to share is I had quite a few things, but I'm going to go in deep, but I want to make sure I get this in. And that is an interesting little wordplay here. And this one hit me like a ton of bricks because it's really going to apply to what we do. That's pretty cool, huh? If you find that you have trouble remembering what people say, it's because you weren't silent and listening. When you have trouble remembering people's names, I tell you the quickest way to be able to fix that, it's not that you have a problem with retention. You have a problem with attention. Instead of worrying about what you're going to say to this new person that you're getting ready to meet and all the things that you want to be able to say to look smart and intelligent, and then all the fear that you got in your head on what they're going to think of you when you first run into them, if you'd actually just pay attention to what they say, you will actually remember their name. It's an interesting little tip. And if you're truly going to listen, then be silent when you're doing it and be intentional on hearing what they've got going on. Just that small little tweak when you're going through this process, you will not just communicate with a human being, you will truly connect with a human being. And that's huge. That's absolutely huge. So what I want to share tonight is I wanted to share about our first box. We got our 4 boxes. As y'all have heard me say, every training we're going to do is going to come down to those 4 boxes. It's going to be something in there. I want to talk about the desire box. And this was some pretty neat, introspective, deep digging type stuff that I think is very important, because one of the things that's hit me here recently is my desire is at an all-time high for what I want to achieve with this business and the impact that I want to make. And I'm like a pit bull with a bone when I know I'm onto something and I know that I've got the goods for it. I will take that there's nobody on the planet that's not going to hear it from me. My closing ratio is insane right now. Why? Because my desire is completely clear. The vehicle is completely clear. The way to drive the vehicle is completely clear. And the external resources necessary to do it are completely clear. It's not a matter of if, it's only a matter of when. And that when is when you all get this, when you all experience this. And doing the action that you're doing is how you're going to experience it. Just like riding a bike, you sucked the first time you rode a bike. The first time you drove a car, you were terrible at it. I was literally behind a lady today. I'm not joking. She's putting on makeup and she had the phone on her ear and she's putting on makeup while she's driving. Now, I'm not saying it was the safest thing in the entire world. I got one lane over, but she was still operating that vehicle somewhat, keeping it between the lines and making that happen. My point of that is that a human being can actually do some pretty crazy things when they've done it for a long time, and they don't have to worry about a thing that absolutely terrified them before. Now they can literally do it in their sleep. So with all of that, the desire is the absolute first most important thing. If you don't have that, if you're not clear on that, if you don't know how that desire works, you ain't going. It doesn't matter if you got a rocket ship. It doesn't matter if you got the best pilots ever. It doesn't matter if you have an infinite amount of money. If you don't desire to go do it, you ain't going to go do it. You got to know what that desire is. So desire boils down typically to 6 different things in varying amounts. So for your notes, the list of what everybody's desire boils down to is, I'll actually draw it out here. Whoops, wrong button. The first one is certainty. Everybody desires, and everybody desires all 6 of these, but in varying degrees, and there's a different priority of which one they need most. But everybody has a desire for certainty. AKA security. This is avoiding pain, having some pleasure, some comfort. The other thing that people desire is some uncertainty in their life. some variety. If I come home 5 days a week and we're having chicken every night, that's not going to do it for me. I don't desire that. Tonight we had chicken. It was damn good. I don't want chicken tomorrow. Significance. And this is a little bit of a different definition of significance, but you want to be significant in the fact of being unique, special, important. A fourth one is love. Fifth one is growth. And the sixth one is contribution. When I talk about significance in just about all situations, I'm talking about the contribution side, but in this case, significance is the ability, the desire, the need to be unique, to be different than others. We want to be special. We all want some level of certainty. We like some security in our life, but we also like a little bit of craziness in our life, some level. Some people like roller coasters. Some people don't like that, depending on each one of these is on a spectrum on how much of this thing they need. And the order that they are is different. But that, if you take the order and the slider and you put that all together, that's what makes people who they are. And the desires that they have is some combination of those dials and bells and whistles and all of that to make up the makeup. But these 6 things are the ones that are extremely, extremely common across the planet in human beings. This isn't me coming up with this. This is Tony Robbins coming up with this, a guy that's literally trained millions and millions of people. So what's interesting is if you look at this, what are the top 2? Because the top 2 are typically what's going to drive you. And what's interesting is you can change these desires when you pay attention to them. Most people, it is certainty and significance that they look for today. An example is everybody works for somebody. Why? Because it's secure. Go get yourself a nice, secure job. It's the illusion of security that lures them in. The same thing that when you're in your neighborhood, you don't get as concerned about your neighborhood as you are in other neighborhoods. Man, it can happen anywhere. You got the illusion of security. Unless you got armed guards around the whole place, man, they can still break in. The other one that most people look for is uniqueness, the significance, being special. I give you Instagram and Facebook and selfies. It's a freaking epidemic. Now, if that's what does it for you, rock and roll. It's an observation that most people are chained to those 2 things. If you are, guess what? You might have some issues. When it's all about you and all you want security, this business could look a little crazy. So it's important to look at it and really dig in to see what's holding you back on where you think and say you want to go. Because you might want to go there, but you haven't rewired these main things. You go in there and you're watching the movie and you got the little equalizer all the way over to the side and you're like, man, it sounds funny, but you don't go change the equalizer. You don't slide the little lever over a little bit. And when those things aren't congruent, you're going to feel pain. And eventually your terrorist is going to win because its job, your brain's job, is to keep you nice and safe. So I thought that was pretty powerful information. Now, continuing on with that, you have beliefs and rules to be able to fulfill your target. You have different thoughts and things on how you go about to be able to make these things happen. If you need a lot of certainty and security in your life, you need to look and see what is truly certain and secure, not the illusion of it. So there's two main parts. Moving on. There's two main parts that was shared with us on living an extraordinary life. There's two skills that you need to get real good at a high level for that desire box. The first one is mastering the skill of the science of achievement. And it is a science. It's not luck. You take a certain group of people who have been successful in the past, you take them out of that environment, you chunk them in a new environment, you give them a little bit of time, and guess what? They're back winning yet again. It's not luck. Now, grace can play a part of it, but what's really interesting is the people that have those skills and they understand how it works, it just keeps working for them. Wellness isn't luck. Now, there's obviously some things where, hey, you're just born with certain things, and I get it. But the vast majority of people that suffer because of bad health is simply because science is science. You're going to either let it work for you or work against you. Gravity is gravity. You jump off the building. It doesn't matter how nice you are, how bad you want it. Gravity's going to win every single time, and you're going to splat on the ground. It's just science. If you disobey it, it's going to beat you up. If you disobey the science of achievement, you're going to have a hard run at it. If you'll just go ahead and say, you know what, that is how it is, and if I'll simply follow those steps, it works really, really good. So the skill of the science of achievement is can I take what I envision and make it real? Now let's break that down a little bit. How many people actually sit there and envision it? Do you know what you desire? Can you envision it? And then, can you make it real? Can you make it quicker, faster, better, easier? Can you manifest it? Can you take what you see and can you manifest it? I used to not be able to do that very well. I'm now able to do that extremely well. How did I do that? Keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it and do the whole Art Williams thing. I commend you all. Y'all are here doing it. But what is it that you're doing? Are you just hanging out? Or are you envisioning what it is that you desire? Are you just going through the motions and waving the 10 people? Are you envisioning having a conversation with somebody where you hear that they've got a thing and you're able to manifest changing their life? You going through the motions, or are you doing it with intention? When the desire is burning hot, crazy, mad, on fire, lava level, nuclear level, you do it with intention. The second one, and this is a key one, is the art of fulfillment. I think I put too many L's in there, but y'all be okay. Not just achievement, but fulfillment. The worst thing ever is to get this first one squared away and be successful, but not be fulfilled. If you don't have a check mark in that one too, that's the worst failure you can experience. Ever see anybody that seems to have it all and they're an absolute terrible individual to be around? They're not fulfilled. They reach the top of the mountain, they got there and they go, oh crap. Both of these are driven and controlled by one major force, and that is your choices. The choices you make, aka decisions. You have a choice. Every single thing that occurs, you have a choice in your reaction. You can be reactive, or you can be the creator of it. And sometimes we're going to be in both. We're going to be on both of those. But to manifest it, I find that it's when you start creating. You create opportunities. You log on to Facebook with an intentional, I am going to find somebody in the next 5 minutes that I'm going to be able to impact their life. And I'm going to scroll through intentionally. I'm not going to get distracted by the cat video or the fireworks display. I'm going to actually be going through there with the intent is I'm going to find somebody I'm going to help. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go into this PTSD group. I'm going to go into this group that's dealing with brain cancer or I don't know what. But I'm going to be intentional on where I'm going to go instead of just be reactive on how I'm going to get there. I'm going to make a choice of what I'm going to do next. I'm not just going to, well, hopefully today I'm going to be able to carve out 6 seconds to hit this little wave button on 10 people. And that way I've been doing my business today. That's the minimum. And that's the minimum that should only be done when you're having a really, really, really tough day. Looking at the numbers that I see going through this, I'm trying to call you all up and get you moving a little bit more because once the momentum kicks in, an object in motion tends to stay in motion. You're in motion, but you don't want every day to be literally just 10 waves. That's the minimum. What I want you to do is I want you to make a choice. I want you to be intentional, and I want you to manifest this, and I want you to understand the science of achievement is if you want this thing to go, put some time into it. I'm not talking 10 hours a day unless that's how bad that you have a desire. I'm saying be intentional and make that choice the day before. Well, we'll see how the day goes. This morning, if you saw my Facebook post, I was out walking at 6 a.m. I hate getting up in the morning. I mean, I despise it. But I made a choice. I said, which one do you hate more? Not being healthy or getting up early? And then I went back a little bit further and I said, well, I like sleeping. I don't like getting up early because I usually stay up late. Well, hey, guess what, dumbass? Go to bed early. I made a choice. Well, it's harder to go to bed. Take more sunrise, more sunset. That's what I did. Slept like a baby. Got 7 hours of sleep. Got up at 5:30. Got all my stuff ready to go. Went out for my walk. Took a selfie because I wanted to be unique and special that I got up before everybody. So I checked that little mark in my box. I went on with my day. Got a whole lot done today because I chose how it was going to go. Did I have some uncertainty in my day? Yes, I had quite a bit of it today. It was a tough day. But because I set my intention and my choice and I created my day, I got a whole lot more done than if I would have just let the day run me. That's manifesting. That's the science of achievement. The most important decision you can make is that no matter what happens, you are going to live in a beautiful state of being. That is a very powerful statement. No matter how my day went, I had a choice. Was I going to let that event change the course of my day, or was I going to manifest what I chose to do today? I had to deal with the thing because I chose to deal with the thing, but the way I chose to deal with it was not with a lot of angst and a lot of frustration. It's like, yep, that happened. That sucks. Let's acknowledge that. And now let's go get it done so I can get back to the thing that's going to get me out of that situation. Here's the deal. The choices we make are much more important, and they have a much bigger impact than the conditions that we're going to meet. Jim Rohn called it the set of the sail. The wind's going to blow on us all. It's the choice you're going to make on what to do when the wind blows more than the wind blowing on you. When you start getting this, you will be fascinated to observe other human beings and the utter nonsense that spews out of them because the wind was blowing on them. Now, I'm not saying this to get all uppity like I'm not the world's worst about it, but I'm not any more the world's worst about it. I've been awakened to that fact, and now I observe it. And I catch myself still, and I go, okay, you want to be that way or you want to be another way? It's a choice. But having an amazing life is by making a choice to live in a beautiful state. You can sit here and say everything's going wrong in your life, or you can look at it and say, you know what? There's probably people that are dealing with a little bit more than I am today. I'll probably be all right. How do I choose to do this? How do I choose to live this moment? And that's the way to do it. You start getting all worried about what's going to happen when we get on the freeway, when you're first learning how to drive your car, and you're going to get fearful and you're not even going to move out of the parking lot. You get all worried about what's going to happen down the road, or you can focus on this moment and choose, what am I going to do right now? Because that's the only one that matters, is the moment that's right now. Pain is one thing. That's the wind blowing on us. But suffering is not something. Suffering is something that you choose. Pain is one thing. Suffering is another. People say, well, all pain is suffering. No. I hear that when women go through childbirth, it's quite a bit of pain, but it's not a suffering. It's the most amazing thing. The way that you can end suffering, it's a choice to serve others. I think it was Viktor Frankl that wrote a book. He was in Auschwitz. The worst conditions ever imposed, probably, or at least some of the worst ever in the history of mankind. And he comes out and turned it in to a choice of what he was and how he was going to be, and to find joy in Auschwitz. He wrote a pretty crazy book. If you ever want to read something to be amazed at human potential of what the soul can do, it is always a choice. That's the experiment that defeats any argument to that. If a human being can go through that and find joy because he chose to find joy in that situation, you can handle whatever you're dealing with right now. The brain is built to make you worry. It's there for about threats. Do you have enough money? What do people think of you? All these types of things. That's what your brain is put there for. It's to evaluate threats and keep you safe. That's where the external resources comes from, by the way. When we get all enlightened, you will find that I'm going to get rid of that third box at some point when we're all enlightened individuals and realize that there are no external resources that we need to be successful in this business. That's just your brain messing with you, making you think that you don't have something. There are ample resources. It's resourcefulness, the internal resources that people lack. Anytime I have a conversation with somebody about, oh, well, I'm in for everything and I see this doesn't take time, but I just don't have any money. And I look over and they've got an iPhone 10 or X or whatever they are and a Samsung 10. They can go do Uber and make $300 in one night. And they're telling me they ain't got no money to be able to do this business. No, you don't have any courage. You haven't identified your desires enough. I've shown you the system. You know you can do it. That's not a matter of lack of education. It's a lack of courage. Your brain is screwing with you. Your brain's trying to keep you safe. Your brain's job is not to make you successful. People here say, I don't have any money. Man, 2/3 of the planet lives on $2 a day. That's a fact. $2 a day. 2/3 of the planet. Man, if you make $38,000, you're freaking rich. It's about perspective. So, what do you choose to suffer with? What are you choosing right now to allow the pain to continue? Because here's the deal, life's short. You got a week to live. What are you going to choose to suffer from? Not much. You're going to choose to not suffer. You're going to go off and do other things. Suffering is you obsessing about you. That one was like a freaking 2 before between the eyeballs for me. Suffering is you obsessing about you. Here's the deal. You have a choice on how you're going to be with what happens. You can have 2 people go through the exact same circumstance. One's going to sit there and choose to suffer. The other one's going to sit there and choose to learn from it and have it be a growing event and move on past it. From the exact same thing happening to 2 different people. People will observe something that occurs. One will look at that and go, that's absolutely terrible. And the other one looks at it and goes, that is absolutely amazing. You have that choice. So to achieve is nice, but to enjoy is more important. Here's a real good one. I might even make a t-shirt out of this. Trade your expectations for appreciation. Expectations are coming from a resource perspective. You got everything you need to be successful in this business. You got everything you need right now. You got everything you need to be living an unbelievably awesome life with what you have right now. I can't see everybody because some of y'all have got your video turned off, but I'm assuming the fact that you are on an internet signal to be able to see me streamed onto your device means that things are probably better than $2 a day. So all of that leads me into summing this all up into something that's really, really interesting. If you want to go on a vacation, it'll usually be So you need a vacation. You got to have money to be able to go on the vacation, to be able to relax. So you got to have money so that you can go on vacation, so that you can be relaxed. We have it in our head that we got to have something so that we can do something so that we can be something. And I got to have this money so I can go to the vacation so that I can be relaxed. That's the order that you will have a whole lot more success with. Start being a certain way. You want to do this business? Do this business. Be the type of person that's doing this to help somebody. Be that person that helps. When you're that person, you'll be able to then take action. You'll wave to people, you'll say hi, you'll form them, you'll empathize with them, you'll pass the ball. When you do that, you'll have the ranks, you'll have the money, you'll have the car, you'll have the trips. But you got to get your head right on what you choose to be first. You a giver or you a taker? Is it about you or is it about them? How are you choosing to be? It's a choice. You going to be intentional? You're going to help this person? Or are you going to sit there and let your fears beat you up and not have the conversation with them? You going to make the excuse on why you can't go do this, why you don't have enough time? Or are you going to look at what you choose to be and the state that you're going to be in? Well, the wind's blowing on me, in case you don't understand. I've got this going on, this going on, this going on. I get it. I also know that that's blowing on other people, and they've made a choice on being somebody different, and they went and did something different. I'm not saying you have to. I'm not saying I'm going to think less of you. All I'm saying is that if you want to achieve those desires, if you want to make it to Miami, from here, that's east, you're traveling northwest towards Seattle, it's going to take you a whole lot longer to get there. I'm not saying you're going the wrong way. I'm just saying that way is not going to serve you. Be clear on the state you're going to be in. Be clear on how you're going to exist. Make that choice. Manifest that. It's a science. Sorry, somebody's getting unmuted. All right. All right, I think I got them muted now. So make that choice on how you're going to be. Then go do the steps, and then you will have. It's not like, well, man, if I had this, then I could go do these things, and then I could feel this way. It doesn't work that way. Be, do, have. Okay? Any thoughts, theories, questions, concerns, anything anybody wants to share? Did this resonate with you? It's like, Casey, what the hell are you smoking tonight? What y'all got for any feedback for me? Anything you want to share? Is my volume on? That would be really weird. All right, 6 of y'all with your video on, 11 of you without your video on, and nobody saying anything's not working for me.
I'm smiling at you, though.
That's cool. I appreciate that. Thank you for the feedback. And great job.
Sometimes you just gotta jump. You don't know what's on the other side, but you know you're not gonna drown. So putting yourself out there and just showing up, shit happens.
I love it. And you've been doing that, Jennifer. Well done on all the new impact you've been making right out of the gate. It's been really awesome to see.
Thank you. And just if anyone has said any kind of thank yous or not thank yous, but congratulations, I appreciate that. I have not gone through all of those notifications, but I appreciate it.
That's way cool. That's way cool. I love it when people are busy. All right. All right, Beverly, thank you.
Great
Beverly,
stuff, Casey.
sharing that. Good deal. Thank you, Kathy. More along the lines of, what is this resonating? What's this kicking off? I'm not looking for you to give me a high five or pat me on the tushy. And I appreciate that, but what is that stirring up in you?
Well, we needed to hear exactly what you're saying, so that's good.
Cool. Betty, what you got?
That really resonated with me tonight through some of the bad things that I had to go through these last 2 weeks.
You've had a rough go, girl.
It's a state of mind. It put me down, but just listening to everything and trying to get back on track and all of this is a state of mind, but it does, you have to change that state in order to move forward. So thank you for that tonight.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. And Betty,
big hugs, Betty.
Thanks.
On a follow-up to what you just said, Betty, is that it can knock you down. And absolutely, man, the wind can blow on you. And then after that, it's that choice you make if you're going to get back up. So that's right. Good. You're back up. Look at you go. I love it.
Thanks.
You're welcome. All right, Amanda, I appreciate what you sent. Thank you. All right, that's all I've got. I'm going to give you all a couple minutes. I always go over, so we're going to be a little bit short tonight because that was the best I got. Yes, ma'am.
Can I ask a question?
Please, absolutely.
With all the waving that we do, and you say, hi, how are you? And people continue on and on. But they continue on and conversation doesn't relate to anything. Do you just have to go out and just ask them if they are like wellness, health and wellness? Or how do you get the conversation past that when they just want to keep on chatting about nothing? I'm getting frustrated with that because I don't know how to tie it into Kayani or how to get them to talk about their interests or what they need fixed, because they just go on and on and on.
Drive the conversation in the direction that you want the conversation to go. If you want to know how they're heading out, here's the deal. If you're trying to get it to, and I get the intent of it, and I'm good at driving a conversation like, hey, how you feeling these days? I'm going to get right into it. It's about them, and it's a leading question because I want to know. I had a guy that was talking about his eyesight at my store the other day. He was squinting at the screen to be able to sign the paper I needed him to sign, and then I started into the conversation with that, and then it was kind of stalling out, and I said, what the heck? I'm just going to hit him right up. If he's squinting on this, let's see if he's got anything else going on. So I took a shot in the dark, and I said, hey, you sleeping good? How's that going for? I know your eyesight's not all that great, but how's your sleeping? You sleeping well? And he looked at me and he goes, I don't sleep worth a damn. I'm like, oh, interesting. Guess what we talked about for the next 10 minutes? So right. I have no problem going out there and they say, yeah, I'm feeling great. Cool, man. And if that wasn't going to work, well, then great. Have a good day. I'm going to go talk to somebody else, do something else. That's the end of the conversation. And here's the deal. Make sure that this isn't just about the Kayani stuff, right? You want to drive it towards those areas, but it doesn't mean every conversation is going to be there. So you don't just keep going down, hey, let me ask you a survey of the next 25 things to see if you've got any of these elements. It's not a doctor's visit. Or you could turn it into a doctor's visit.
Right. I can do face-to-face, like when I'm out and about. Yeah. But then when I go on something where I can't really see them, I'm just talking to a page, then I have a hard time tying it in.
Nah, that's BS. There's another human being on the other side of that thing. That's a perception. I get what you're saying. I do better.
I'm just not used to social media, that's all.
And that's the external resource part of it that's getting in there. You got an expectation and all that, and then it starts jacking with you, and your brain's messing with you because you're not used to doing it, and then you start shutting down and closing the box, and I don't have what I need to be able to do this, and then I can't make this work, and then I can't do social media. Is the path that goes down. What you need to stop on that and then look at it differently is say, there's another human being on the other side of that. There's not a robot that's making this happen. There's actually a human being that's actually having a conversation with me on the other side. And if that's the case, turn it from that. If you'd rather do it face-to-face, turn these social media things into a sit-down and say, hey, I wanted to connect with you and the technology is great, but man, I really like seeing somebody face-to-face. You want to get together for a cup of coffee. You want to sit down for a visit and use the tool, the technology, just to switch it over so you can get into a spot where you might feel more comfortable. But if that's not working, don't forget it's another human being on the other side of that thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Good stuff. Other questions? Any things that y'all are running into, having conversations, they're stalling out, not quite clear how to do this, that, and the other? Now's the time. You got 7 minutes. Beverly, how are you doing today? Beverly's
I'm
on.
doing good. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, hey.
How's it
I
going?
love your bottles in the back.
You like, I'm sorry, what?
Your bottles. Your
Oh,
bank
yeah.
of bottles in the back. Yeah, I love that. And
I
I'm
got
doing
this
good.
one. Good.
Awesome. I'm still working it. We're
Good.
still kind of in transition here.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're on tonight, and I hope this was useful.
It certainly was. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Very welcome. All right, last call for questions. You got a guy that's been doing this for 10 years. If you got it all squared away, cool. If not, now is the time to ask questions. Everybody's rocking and rolling. Love where your business is at. Everything's going wonderfully. I love it. All right. Well, then we're going to call it a night. Joanne, I will see you in the morning for a launch for a couple people. Great job setting that up. And got a lot of chats with a lot of people tomorrow. So let's keep it rolling. Keep having the conversations. Keep documenting how many you're doing. Up your game. Up your game. Up the number that you are chatting with. If you're waving at 10 people and you're only getting one of those to turn into a conversation, wave at 20 people. You might have 2 conversations. Wave at 30. Well, Casey, I'm going to run out of people. It's a wave. It's not like you can only wave at them one time. You've ran into the same person at H-E-B or at your grocery store more than once. It's cool. So keep doing that so you're in the number of conversations that you want to be in. Be intentional. All right, I'm going to unmute the line so y'all can say goodnight, and we will see you all next week. And hopefully we'll see a lot of you on Saturday here in Houston for the fun run. Don't forget that. Look in the Jade Factory for the events. It's a free event. We're having that in there to check our progress, see how we're doing. It's going to be hot. Make sure you bring some water. Looking at the updates that I put out there on Jade Factory for events for that thing coming up on Saturday. Hope to see a lot of y'all out there. Make sure you RSVP on that so we make sure we got enough water for everybody on the trail. Make sure you bring your own food. We're going to be in a different spot. I was hoping to be able to grill, but we're at a different location, and they don't have the facilities there, so bring your own. It's going to be a good time. Can't wait to see y'all. And I've got the lines unmuted, so y'all can all say good night. See you next time, everybody.
Yeah. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks, Casey.
You're welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, you too.
Bye-bye, everybody.